हरि ओम् नमः सर्वेभ्यः अद्वैतचिन्तनवर्गे सर्वेषां स्वागतम्। ॐ नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्यभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अस्मत् श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणचक्षुश्रोत्रम् अथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्तु मे निराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। केनेषितं पतति प्रेक्षितं मनः केन प्राणः प्रथमः प्रीतियुक्तः केनेषितं वाचमिमां वदन्ति चक्षुश्रोत्रं कहुः देवो युनक्ति। श्रोत्रस्य श्रोत्रं मनसो मनो यद् वाचोह वाचं सहुः प्राणस्य प्राणः चक्षुषच्चक्षु अधिमुच्यधीरा प्रत्यस्मात् लोकात् अमृता भवन्ति। न तत्र चक्षुर्गच्छति न वाक् गच्छति नो मनः न विद्मः न विजानीमः तद् एतत् निशिष्यात्। अन्यदेव तद्विदिता ततो अविदिता तति इति शुश्रुम पूर्वेषां येन तद्व्याचचक्षिरे। यद्वाचानभ्युदितं येन वागभ्युदिते तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते। यन्मनसा न मनुते येन मनोमतं तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते। यच्चक्षुषा न पश्यति येन चक्षुंसि पश्यति तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते। यत् श्रोत्रेण न शृणोति येन श्रोत्रमिदं श्रुतं तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते। यत् प्राणेन न प्राणीति येन प्राणः प्रणीयते तदेव ब्रह्मत्वं विद्धि नेदं यदिदमुपासते इति प्रथमखण्डः. Now we are entering into Dvitiya Khandaha. So what has happened is that there was a straight question from the disciple. Keneshidam padadi prekshitam manah kena prana pratama preiti yukta keneshidam vacham imam vadanti chakshushrotram kau devo yunakti. So manah, pranaha, vak, chakshu, shrotram, all these things, how are they functioning is the question what the student asked. So not giving a direct answer, the teacher said shrotrasya shrotam is the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, the breath of the breath, eye of the eye. Having crossed over all these things, pretyasma lokat amrita bhavanti. One who knows that entity which is the ear of the ear, mind of the mind, speech of the speech, breath of the breath, eye of the eye, all of them, one who knows that pretyasma lokat amrita bhavanti. So here the question comes that how do we cross it? So the teacher says that na tatra chakshur gacchati na vak gacchati no manah na vidmaha na vijanimaha. Now this word na vidmaha na vijanimaha edad anushishyad, it is na tatra chakshur gacchati, nor the eyes can reach there, nor the speech can explain that, not even mind. Na vidmaha na vijanimaha, it cannot be known or cannot be taught. Edad anushishyad, but it will be explained to you in a way in which Shruma Purvesham, how the previous masters have taught us. Anyadeva tad vidita tato avidita tati iti Shruma Purvesham. So this is the way we have been taught by our previous masters. Is the same way while we are going to teach you. You will have to understand this in the way we have been told to understand that yet vajanabhididam yena vakabhyutide tadeva brahmatvam vitti nedam vetidam avasti. Till now in the Chandogya Upanishad what happens, it is full of upasanas. So the student is quite familiar with upasanas. To remove him from that clutches of upasana related knowledge as Brahma, especially in the 3rd chapter 14th pada, with the sarvam khalu idam Brahma, there is a Brahma upasana. So when it is being told that, here the teacher says yad vachana bididam yena vakapyusite, that which is not is exposed or detailed by the vak or the speech, yena vakapyusite, the power behind the speech which makes knowledge possible. The knowing happens due to the presence of Brahma in the speech which we hear. Not only we hear it as mere words, but we also get it as a knowledge, an awareness, a consciousness. It is not just like any sound of a cracker or a music which is played, where we don't get a knowledge out of that. Other than there is a sound, we don't get to know it. But there are words, when it is uttered in the proper way, not only the word sounds are heard, but yena vag abhyudite, the words are potent enough with the consciousness or awareness with which we know what is with which is that happening. Tadeva Brahma, that is what is Brahma, that but the power behind the speech with which the words become awareness or knowledge. Tvam vidhi, that is your nature. Tadeva Brahma tvam vidhi. Not na idam yadidam upasate, not what you meditate upon Brahma, whether it is Omkara upasana or Brahma upasana or Atma upasana or Gayatri upasana. There are many of them in the Chandogya Upanishad earlier aspects. So none of them is what is it. To continue this yat vajana vidim yena vaka abhyutite, not only by the speech, but even my mind, yat manasana manade yena hur mano matam, even that mind what is not being conceived, the mind by which the mind is potent enough to know or to conceive or grasp the inner knowledge like sukha dukkha, thoughts, emotions, etc. Tadeva Brahma, that is what is Brahma. Yat chakshana chakshushana pashyati yena chakshumsi pashyati. It is not that what you see outside as the object, the potency or the power behind the vision to make us aware of the presence of the material of the world outside in the form of appearances with qualifications, nama rupa. So nama is the vag and rupa is by the chakshu. So that is what is Brahma, tadeva Brahma. Yes, srotrena na shrunoti yena srotramidam shrutam. It is not the sound which the ear is able to receive as sound impulses or by the decibels of it, but yena shrotramidam shrutam, what you have heard becomes I heard it. When a statement is being made that I heard it, I have known it, that hearing and knowing are not two different things. When it is heard, you are knowing what you heard. So there is that yena shrotram idam shrutam. There is here also the potency is there for the sound to become the knowledge. The sound becoming a knowledge is because tadeva Brahma. Yat pranena na praniti yena prana praniyate. The breath which we are taking is air which is there outside, which goes inside the lungs. But that air presence there doesn't make the the life, the potency of life in the body, in the sharira of not only human beings, on all the materials which we are there in that. Yena prana praniyate, by which the presence of that prana, when it is not felt, there is no pulsation, no life principle which is seen in the body. So what is happening doesn't mean that the life principle has gone anywhere or anything. Only when it is happening that there is a life event. So there are two aspects of the prana or the chaitanya. One is the chinta shakti or the vijnana shakti or kriya or the knowledge aspect, and the other one is kriya shakti. So prana is indicated by the kriya shakti or the activity. Even the mind becomes mind only when the prana is in function. Otherwise the mind cannot function. But prana is the mandatory thing even for the mind to function. Not only the mind, the eyes, the ears, the speech, the sound, everything becomes that. So prana is important. But prana is also not what you are taking, breathing in and breathing out. By that force with which prana becomes our prana, not that it is the air which becomes the life. That life makes the prana work or the breathing happens. Tadeva brahmatvam vitti. Now when it is being told all these things, normally an ordinary human being with average intelligence or having gone through the training will develop a feeling that, yeah, I think now I'm understanding what is Brahma. So to that he says that the Upanishad says, Yadi manyase tu suvede dabrameva vinonam tvam veta brahmano rupam yadasya tvam yadasya deveshu atha nu mimamsyameva te manye viditam. Now let us look into the Bhashya of this aspect. So before starting that, Shankara is giving a amukha or preface to that beginning of the second kanda. Evam heya upadeya viparita tu atma brahma iti pratyayitaha shishyaha aham eva brahma iti sushtu veda aham iti ma griniyat iti ashayat aha acharya shishya buddhi vichalanartam iti ityadi. Yadi ityadi. Yadi suvedeti is the way in which the second part is starting. Evam, that's heya upadeya viparita tu atma brahma iti pratyayitaha. So what is to be accepted, heya, what is upadeya means what is to be accepted, what is accepted and rejected. Viparita tu, opposite to that there is acceptance and rejection. Fearing the principle who has been brought to the conviction that you are the Brahman. Tadeva brahmatvam vitti is the statements in the last 5 mantras. So the Shishya will pratyayita, will ascertain that Atma Brahma, I am the Brahma, which is the Heyopadeya Viparita. There is nothing, Heyam Upadeyam is everything outside. For me, I am neither Heyam nor Upadeyam. There is nothing which is happening to me within myself that I don't want myself or I want myself, because I am always with myself. So Atma eva Brahma iti pratyayita shishya aham eva Brahma iti sushtu veda aham iti. He will think that the individuality, tatra aham eva Brahma is that aham, Atma is the individual aspect, aham eva Atma, that I, which is identified the word, which is standing for the Atma, not the Brahma Atma. Here is that Atma is self, the small self. Brahma is the Brahman. Iti sushtu veda aham iti. Then I am that, this individuality or this body, which I don't have even the body or this thing, no. Heyam upadeya param viparita. So that is that aham which is there is Brahma. Ma griniyat, he should not accept, or he should not take that as the knowledge, as the correct knowledge, that what is what he knows. Iti ashayat aha acharya. So acharya has got the doubt, ashaya, that the disciple has not understood the what is the real, the aspect what was conveyed through that tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam ididam upasate, in that statement. So acharya shishya buddhi vichalanartham, to what is that surnakhana nyayam. Vichalanartham means to disturb or destabilize the shishya buddhi. I mean that the jnanam in the shishya, which he thinks that I am the Brahma. That individuality is the Brahma, is the way in which he may consider himself to be. To destabilize that, or to re-establish that, vichalanartha means only that is kindled, or again and again questioned, or what we call it as, like the charcoal in a barbecue. Unless you spread it or turn it around, or in the old kitchen, the wood need to be turned again and again once in a while, for then only the fire will catch fully. Saying that is the vichalanartham, but the buddhi is the vichalanam here. It is that viparita buddhi which is there in the mind of the shishya, that this body, the individuality, is the Brahma. For that, to purpose of that is the why acharya is starting yadi ityadi. So now the thing, then there is a question from the pratipaksham. Nanu ishtayeva su vedaham iti nishtita pratipatti. If this is not such a conviction, I know well enough, it is not a desirable thing. Heya upadeyam is what is mentioned that. So that the opponent is asking, is it not a hayable thing that the individuality is the Brahma? Because then you are knowing that you are the Brahma is a heya thing. You should be desiring for that. Iti satyam. That is true. The answer is that Brahma is to be known, is true, but there is a pratipatti, but there is a conviction which is opponent, which can happen. So ishta nishtita pratipatti nahisu vedaham iti. So vedaham iti sushtu, it should not be mistaken for that individuality. Yad hi vedyam vastu vishayi bhavati tat sushtu vedidum shakya. That object, yet vedyam vastu, that knowable object, vishayi bhavati, is objectified, tat sushtu vedidum shakyam. Then it has the potency, or it has the capability to be known. Sushtu vedidam, it has very clearly known. Dahyam iva dagdum agnehe dagduhu natu agne swarupameva. Here is the important aspect. The fire can burn anything other than the fire. Natu agne swarupameva. In the swarupa of the Agni doesn't burn itself. By becoming the Agni, you don't get burnt. But in the Agni, anything is given that gets burnt. Dahyam means the potency to burn. Dagdum agne dagnuhu. Only the objects which are potency to burn in the fire can be burned. Dahyam. Natu, not agnehe swarupameva. In the fire by itself cannot burn itself. Only it can burn anything other than the fire. Sarvasya hi veditu swatma brahmeti sarva vedantanam sunaschidartha. Sarvasya hi veditu. The knower of everything other than that. So Atma. That is Brahma. That is the sarva vedantanam sunaschidartha. All the Vedanta is talking about is Swatma, our Atma, not the individuality, our reality, our Swarupa. That is the difference between our individuality and our swarupam. Brahma iti is what, in what form? Sarvasya hi veditu. It is the knower of everything, but not itself. Because it is, so atmasraya dosha will happen. When it is said that the Atma will know itself, or Atma has to know Brahma, there will be a problem of Atmasraya dosha. Means you cannot climb on your own shoulders. Just as the Agni cannot burn itself, same way the knowledge of the individual to know itself as an object cannot ever happen. But that Atma is the Vedituhu for Sarvasya. For everything else, it is a knower. Ihacha tadeva pratipaditam prashna prativacanoktya. Prashna prativacanoktya, in the previous pada, Shrotrasya Shrotram ityadi. In that earlier pada, when prashna prativachanam, question and answer rupa, this is exactly what it has been is explained. Ihacha tadeva pratipaditam prashna prativachanam uktya. Yet vajan abhyutitam yena vag abhyutite. That which cannot be is explained by the speech, but by which the speech can be, the speech becomes noble. Iti visheshato avadaritam. That is the way in which it has been said. So all these statements, yet vajan shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano vacho havacham satu, all those things are vak. But that vak, ech vajan abhyutitam yena vak abhyutite. That when that statements were being made, if the objectification takes place, then it is not, that becomes vajan abhyutitam. Yena vak abhyutite, by which those words become knowledge or awareness, is what it is to be avadaritam, is to be understood. Brahmavit sampradaya nischayah uktaha. So sampradaya nischayah brahmavit uktaha. Those who have followed the tradition, ascertained and having become the Brahma, Brahmavid Brahmaiva bhavati, tena uktaha, they have said that anyadeva tad viditat ato aviditatati. Iti, that is that it will come, we will explain this mantra when that mantra comes, but what is that? It is anyat eva. It is different from that viditat ato aviditatati, which we have seen in the earlier mantra when we explained that which is to be, that which is known and unknown, beyond the known and unknown. So what is that is the statement of the Brahmavit statement, the one who has known the Brahma, who had through the traditional method they have ascertained or they have convinced about it. It is that statement of Nishchidartika Buddhi, with which the Brahmavit mentions that Anyadevatat viditatato aviditadati iti. Upanyastam upasamharati samharishyati cha avijñātam vijñānatam vijñātam avijānatam. That is also coming in this pada, second pada, third mantra. It is coming. Avijñātam vijñānatam. That without the avijñātam vijñānatam, that which cannot be known is being explained. Vijanatam vijñātam avijānitam. That what is here is again the contradiction. That which is to be taught can become the not understood properly. Vijanatam iti tasmat yuktameva shishyasya suvedi buddhim nirakartum. Because of this contradiction, that it is vidita tato avididatati evam avijñātam vijanatam vijñātam avijanatam. Because of all those two things, shishya yuktameva, the condition for the shishya to make a statement that suvedeti buddhim, in the jnanam that he says, I know what is Brahma or I know what is Atma, tat nirakartum, to what you call negate that knowledge in the shishya or in the student is what it is, that nahi vedita vedidu veditum shakya agner dagdhu iva dektum agne. Nahi vedita veditu veditum shakya. Not the knower can never be known. Just as the fire can never burn itself, same way the knower, the real knower, which is Atma or Brahma in us, can never be known as an object. But as an Agni, Suprakasha, it is shine by itself. Therefore, Vedita, when knowing everything else, the first and foremost aspect what is happening is that I am the knower, not as the activity. My Swarupa is the knowledge or the potency to know is the Vedituhu. Nacha Anya Vedita Brahmana Asti Yasya Vedyam Anyat Syad Brahma. Brahmana the Anyat Vedita. There cannot be a different knower for Brahma. Yasya Vedyam Anyat Syad. But to know that Brahma, another Brahma is not possible. Because Deepasya Anya Deepecha. One light doesn't need another light to show that that is a light. Because light has Swaprakashata, self-effulgence. Due to that, one lamp is enough for us to know there is light in that place, or we can see the light, source of light also. We don't need another lamp to show the first lamp which is burning. Same way, Anya Vedyam Anyat Syad Brahma. The same is the case with the Brahma. It is the knower in every one of us. That knower without any adjectives of it, that limited knower, there is knower different, or Sakshi, all these things are in relation with the world outside as the object outside. Only when the objects outside are present, we call it as the knower of objects, the Shrotrasya Shrotram, Chakshusha Chakshu, Manaso Manoyat. Even what happens in the mind is then happening as a knowing, because that what you call the circumstances or the ambience or the substratum by itself has the potency to know. Therefore, anything happening in it, you don't need another thing to come to enlighten that, because it is a Suprakasha. So our knowledge, when we said Vidita Tato Avidita Tati, beyond the known and the unknown, because both known and unknown are in the field or realm where the knowing takes place. But the knowing principle is not part of the known or unknown, because the principle knows the known and knows the unknown. So it has to be away or separate from the known and the unknown. Therefore, it is beyond the known and the unknown. The best example which I told in the class is that the knowing and unknowing, the objects known and unknown, are only happening where the knowing is happening, when the objects are known. So it is only when the objects are present, or in the form of emotions, thoughts and feelings and objects, we have the aspect of known. What is beyond that, it is unknown. But where does that which is beyond the known and the unknown stay? That the only place we can resolve that is in our deep sleep, where there is no knowing taking place, no unknowing is also there. We cannot say that I did not know I slept. No, I was in that deep sleep is a knowledge without an object of self-awareness, where neither the individuality nor the mind nor the body, nothing is there. We are not able to think deep sleep as a disconnected act of awareness in the substratum. But we associate ourselves that so much to the Dehatma Vritti that I am the body, or my sleep, deep sleep is also of the body. But deep sleep is not of the body. This body which we are experiencing is the body of the waker. The waking world of experiences only have this particular physical body which we have got: humanity, male, female, age, old, young, with disease, without disease. All those things are there of the waking body. This body is abandoned, and we take up a body of the dream, or as a dreamer, a totally new world of experience is experienced in the dream. When we dissociate with both the bodies and disembark from the associations of these two bodies, of the waker and the dreamer, we remain in ourselves without any body. That without remaining in that body, without any association with any body, therefore there is no mind in it. There is no eyes, ears, nose, smell, touch, toes, nor the mind, intellect. Nothing is available because there is no body association. So Dehatma Buddhi is totally zero in the deep sleep. But we cannot imagine that we are in deep sleep where we don't have a body, because in the waking hours we associate the dream and deep sleep as part of the bodily activity of the individual, not of the knowing principle. The knowing principle is independent of the body. Because why it is independent of the body? If it is dependent on the body should have been present in the dream and the deep sleep, and we will be knowing the body with which we are knowing the experiences. But we are not having the knowledge of the body. That means that knowing principle, the one which is beyond the known and the unknown, vidida tato avidida tati, is free from the body. So Dehatma Buddhi which we are having in the waking is the reason why we think that dreaming is taking place in the body and that deep sleep is also in the body. This is because of this association. And the only way is when you meditate upon, when after hearing the teachings of the Upanishad, you have to apply this. Shankara is explaining this in the following statements as to how to do it. Not exactly in the detailed word, but he is indicating towards that. So we should know that this is the way in which we have to dissociate with the Dehatma Buddhi, means Deha eva Atma iti Dehatma. This body is I, or the knower. That is to be the knowledge with which we transact, and that is the biggest bondage, or which restricts our freedom, our nature of freedom, mukti or jivan mukti avastha. All those things are because we associate with our body. It is not, in the physical world, when we use a vehicle like a car or a two-wheeler or anything, we are able to disassociate that it is an instrument which are used for travel, but I am removed from that, so I don't feel the association with the vehicle. But while driving, you associate so much with the size of the vehicle. The pilot will associate himself with the size of the aircraft. The motor bus or a truck fellow will associate himself with the length and the size of the truck. A car driver will associate with the size of the car. To maneuver and move, he knows which way if he goes, he can go, which way he has to take a turn. He has the idea of his size of the body, based on which the turning is done by the aircraft or a long trailer or a car. But when you are on a two-wheeler, you don't need that size and the space. Even from a small place, you can take a U-turn and come back. because you associate with that size of the vehicle. When you are not in the vehicle, you are physically now attached to the body. Your body has been associated at different level with these things. This body association in the waking we abandon, and when we take a body in the dream, we associate with the dream body. If this body was required for the dream, we should have had feelings or knowledge or some indication that this body is present there. The dreamer is not seeing his own body or her own body. He doesn't know the size and age and all those things. All he is in the dream is a spot or a node where experiences are happening, and in that experiences whatever is required, whether it is an experiencing for an old person, you assume that you are an old person. If it is the same person, suddenly will become a young person to experience something else. Sometimes you may experience something which is a male experience. Sometimes you may experience something as a female experience. Sometimes you may experience as an animal experience. Sometimes you may feel that you are a bird flying in the air. All those things, because each of the association takes place, and then what happens is that we feel that we are that body in the dream without knowing what is a physical body, because nobody has ever seen themselves in a mirror in a dream to know how do they look in the dream. All they know is that the node or a point of experience with which they experience it. That is why it is beyond the known and the unknown. Vidita tato avidita tati adava avijñādam vijanadam vijñādam avijanata. This is what when he says nacha anya vidita brahmana asti yasya vetyam anyat syad brahma. So for Brahma, another Brahma is not there, not needed. Nat anyato asti vijñātra. This is the Brihadaranya Upanishad mantra, which very clearly says vijñātaram are kena vijaniyat. Is the Yajnavalkya's question to Maitreyi. How can the knower be known? Because then you will have a infinite regression, which infinite ad infinitum, which will happen. To know that with that knower, another knower will be required. To know that with knower, another knower will be required. That way you will be going from one to another, and there will be never a time when you will really know who is the knower. So Vijñātaram are kena vijanayat, in the same Brihadaranya Upanishad it's coming. And then he says, na anyato asti vijñātra. There is no knower other than the one which is present here and now, in this very moment. There is no other knower. Iti anyo vijñāta pradishyate. Pratishyate. That way it is negating that the presence of another knower other than the one knower which is there. Tasmat sushtu vedaham brahmedi pradipatti mithya eva. Therefore sushtu vedaham, I know myself very well, Brahma iti. Pradipatti means conviction. Mithya eva, that is a delusion. That I know that I am the Brahma is a Brahma pradipatti. Tasmat yuktam eva aha acharya. For therefore there is the need by the acharya to mention that yadi tyadi, yadi manye suvedeti. That is what is the thing. Yadi manyase suvedeti deharamevapi nunam tvam vetha brahmano rupam yadasya tvam yadasya vedevashu atha no mimamsyam eva te manye viditam. Yadi manyase, if you think, suveda iti, that I know it quite well. Deharam eva api, very little indeed. Nuna means surely. Tvam veta, very little indeed you know. Brahmano rupam, the nature of Brahman. Yadasya tvam, of that Brahman which you yourself, yadasya deveshu, that Brahman which is at the divine level, athanu, being so, te viditam, what is known to you, mimamsyameva requires further analysis. Manye, aham manye. The teacher says, I think, because you are saying that I know, sushtu veda, and yadi manyase suveda. Suveda means sushtu veda. That is, I know it quite well. If it is that, very, my dear, you little very know it. You have to understand that Brahmano Rupam is the same Brahmano Rupam of which yourself and that of the divine Devas also. Therefore, it is there, it is what is to be known to you, it needs further. Mimamsyam eva means you need further inquiry into it. Then the Bhashyakara says that, Yadi katachit manyase suvedeti sushtu vedaham brahmeti. Yadi katachit, if someone manyase thinks or is convinced that suvedeti, I know sushtu vedaham, that I know Brahma iti, I know myself as Brahma iti. Kadachit yada shrutam durvitneyam api sheenadoshaha sumedaha kaschit pradipatte kaschit na iti sashanka aham yadi ityadi. Kadachit yada shrutam, sometimes as what is heard, durvitneyam api, even though it is very difficult to understand, क्षीणदोषः सुमेधाः, क्षीणदोषः सुमेधा कश्चित् प्रतिपत्तये, क्षीणदोषः दुर्विज्ञेयम् अस्ति, सुमेधा कश्चित् प्रतिपत्ते, कश्चित् न इति, कश्चित् न इति. So there are three categories he is mentioning it. Ksheenadoshaha means those who have got a difficulty in understand, durvigneyam api, yada shrudam, by the way in which is to be heard, they don't understand it well. Sumeda kaschit pradipatte, those who have got clarity in thinking. Sumeda means sushtu meda, very chiseled or very qualified mind. Kaschit pradipatte, they understand little. They are not confused like Shrina dosha. Kaschit na, that, but some others do not totally understand what is being told. For them it is like Greek and Latin or some other unknown language itself. They don't even know what is being told. So there are three categories of people, this thing which you should understand: adama, madhyama, uttama. Adama is kaschidna, madhyama is shenadosha durvetneyam, sumeda kaschit pratipatte, something is known. It is ashanga. Ashanga is of the guru. Therefore aha yadi ityadi, yadi manyase suvededi ityadi, that statement is made by guru only because he understood that from the listeners in the students there are three categories of students. So for that, a better understanding or to clarify the doubts in the understanding, he makes the statement yadi manyase suvededi. Drishtam cha ya akshini ya esho akshini purusho drishyata esha atmeti yedi hovacha is etat amrutam etat abhayam etat emetad brahma ityukte prajapatya panditah api asurarat virochanaha swabhava devasha vashat anubhavapatidamanam api viparidhamartham shariram atmeti pratipanna. Now this is the Chandogya Upanishad. There is a chapter where Prajapati is teaching to his two children, the kings of both Devas and Asuras, and Devas and Asuras come for studying to Brahma, to Prajapati Brahma, to know what is Atma. Atmeti. Yeah. Then what Prajapati's statement is that Ya esha akshini purushaha. This purusha which is residing in your eyes, drishyataha, because of which it is seeing, esha atmeti, that is Atma. So here yat chakshushana pashyati yena chakshumsi pashyati, that exactly is being and mentioned here. Atmeti ho vacha, that is the way in which Prajapati is saying, Etat amritam abhayam, etat brahma. This is amritam, this is abhayam, and etat brahma. This is what is Brahma. This Atma is Brahma. I am Atma Brahma. So Prajapati is telling to his two sons, Asura Raja Virochana and Devaraja Indra. To both of them he is saying that this Purusha which you are seeing in your eyes is the Atma, and that is the what Amritam, Abhayam and Brahma. Ityukte, having said that, Prajapatyah Panditaha, that the one who knows the Brahma, Prajapati, Api Asurarat Virochanaha. When the Asura Raja Virochana is the king of the Asuras or the demonic people. Swabhava dosha vashat, due to his dosha or the maligned mind in his thinking, anupapadyamanam api, even though it has been well mentioned in this one, viparidam artham shariram atma iti pratipanna. He thought that opposite meaning of that, shariram atma iti, because in the eye, when he is there looking into the eye of the other person, he sees his own reflection. So Akshini Atma, he thought that it is my own reflection when I am seeing in the eye of the other person. Therefore I am this body which is seen in the eye of the other person is the Atma. So with that knowledge he was happy, and he goes back with the one statement, first statement itself. He goes back to Asuras and tell every Asura, each one of you look into other's eye, and what you see there is the Atma, and that is the Brahma. So that means your physical body is the Brahma. This is Tada Indra Devarat. Indra means the Devendra. Devarat, Devanam Raja Devarat, is the king of the Devas. Sakrit Visrat Ruktam Cha Apradipadyamanaha Swabhava Dosha Chayamapekshya Chaturte Adhyaye Pradamoktam Eva Brahma Pratipannavan. What happened in the case of Indra? Even though Prajapati said that, Indra, after seeing the eye, he thought that yes, I am also seeing the eye. He starts walking around. But he gets a doubt because he is doing manana. How can it be that this body which I am seeing the eye of the other person is going through all the changes? If I decorate it, it gets decorated. If I am removing the decoration, it is seen as different. How that Brahma, which is non-changing, can go through the changes which I am seeing the eye? It cannot be the Atma which is saying. He goes back to Prajapati again. Prajapati again repeats the same standard. I am Atma, Apagata Patma. That there is a continuation to this. Ya Akshani Purusho Drishyate Yesha Atma, O Amritam Avayam Vedat Brahma. He says the same thing first time when he comes back. Again he goes, no, may not be the eye. It must be the person. He thinks that it must be the person sitting behind the eye with which you are seeing. Then he goes back second time, third time, and the fourth time when he goes that, then only he understands Pratipannavan. That is the time when he understood. That means he did manana and nididhyasana of the same mantra for 4 times, going beyond the meaning of the first one which he understood to the second level, and from second level to the third level. And if we get a chance to read this Chandogya 7th, 8th chapter, we will understand this. So that time we will discuss this. How does that each of that time, what manana is Indra done, and why is he going back? Shankaracharya Bhashya is explaining that. Here he doesn't give into those explanation. He just says Chaturtam Padhyaya Prabodamoktam Eva Brahma Pratipannavan iti. Loke api ekasmat guroho Shravanam kaschit yata avat pratipadyate kaschit ayathat adayathavat kaschit viparitam kaschit na pratipatyate. So loke api, this is in the case of Prajapati and Virat of Asura and Devas, Virochana and Devendra. But in the loke also, in our normal way, day to day also, ekasmat guru, from one guru, shrunvatam, many people who are listening to that, kaschit yada avapradipatye, kaschit ayadavat, kaschit viparitam, kaschit na pratipatyate. Just as in the told that some people completely understand that, some of them are viparitam, meaning is this is the samshaya atma, no, samshayam vipadeyam ajnanam. Kaschit na pratipatyate, that is ajnanam. Kaschit viparitam means is a misconstruing the meaning of it. Kaschit ayadhavat, yadhavat means, yeah, as is being told he understood, but kaschit ayadhavat is a non-apprehension of the reality. Kaschit avapratipatyate, yatha avapratyate. Some people understand it perfectly, some are mistaking it, some opposite knowledge, some of them not even knowing what it is. Kimu vaktavyam atindriyam atmatattvam. Kimu means because, why? Atindriyam atmatattvam vaktavyam. This atmatattvam, which is being explained by the Upanishad, is atindriyam. It is not possible through any of the indriyas or the sense organs. The five sense organs of touch, the sense organs of touch, smell, etc. Five sense organs of action. By it is not a product which to be produced by hands, legs, or body, etc. Not even by the mind and intellect. Manava shastani indriyani. It is the sixth indriya when it comes to the mind. It cannot be known by any of the indriya. Therefore, it is atindriyam. It is beyond the sense organs to grasp what is Atma Tattva. Because Atma Tattvam is the one which is grasping. So, how can the sense organs become the grasper of the Atma Tattvam? Not possible. Yes, because in the same thing, fire cannot burn itself. The knower can never know itself. Same way, here also Atma Tattvam, Atma Eva is the one which is, because of which the Indriyas are working. So the working Indriyas cannot understand the Atma. Atrahi vipradivannaha sada dinaha tarkika sarve. So what is sadasat adina? Sat and asat. What is there, what is not there, that is how the tarkika the logicians, the thing, asti nasti, but if something is there, nasti. When asti and nasti is possible only where there is creation. So vipradipanna, those who are not understood it properly, they debate and delay this thing only in the sadasat thing. They even think that the consciousness is an emerging property of the neurons or the mind and everything, but that is all between the sad and asat. They assume certain things which are within the created and what is seen and what is not unseen. So they don't see that what is beyond the sense organs. They assume tarkika logic by sad asat. The best example, what the Charvaka says, that they accept only four char tattvas, and they say that Atma or the knowing principle is a emerging property of the four tattvas. By when their combination it is happening. The example they say is that by mixing up different things like fruits and for fruits and sugar and yeast and things like that, you get an alcohol which is giving you the taste of the what you call tipsy, this thing. The tipsiness is not there in the sugar, nor in the fruits, nor in the yeast or anywhere, but it is an emerging property in the alcohol, which is by joining this thing. This is how the what you call Charvaka argue for that. So there, here he is mentioning about that. Tasmat vididam brahmeti sunishchitaha uktamapi vishama pradipatitvam यदि मन्यसे इत्यादि साशंकं वचनं युक्तम् एव आचार्यस्य दभ्रम् अल्पमेवापि नूनं त्वं वेत्ता जानीषे ब्रह्मणो रूपम्. So tasmat, therefore, viditam brahmeti sunishchitaha, to that student who said brahmeti sunishchitaha viditam uktamapi vishama pradipatitva, there is a difficulty in understanding that, in grasping this knowledge. Even though here we saw that there are 4 levels of mistaking takes place. Some understood properly, some have understood wrongly and mistakenly, some are talking totally opposite knowledge, and some has not even understood. There is therefore vishama pradipatitvam is there for this knowledge. Yadi manyase, if you think that you know it, ityadi, like that, sashankam vachanam uktameva acharyasya vanchanam. So that is why that doubt which acharya is making in his statement, yadi manyase, yadi with the word yadi is a word used, if that if is showing the doubt. So yadi ityadi shangavachanam, that doubt is raised by the acharya himself, because dabram means alpam. Dabram alpameva vinunam. You very little can one grasp even by these statements which we have told. Tad brahmatvam vidhi nedam evtidam upasati janishe brahmano rupam, with which veta you cannot really understand what is the Brahma's rupa, or the nature of the swabhava or the swarupa of Brahma cannot be understood properly. This is clearly known to the acharya. That is why he is putting that doubtful question, yadi manyase suvedeti debrameva vinunam. You have understood it very little. If you say that sushtu vedaham, if you think that you know it very well, very little you know, my dear, is what the acharya says. And then he continues to give the next. Now there is an akshepa and samadhana, which I think we can continue that. No, that is a long one. Okay, we will take this akshepa and the samadhana in the next class. So this is where we stop it. Okay. Any questions? Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.